Hello. This is a short story for Missy, a character from those human pet books I reviewed a long time ago. In my review, I carved out a section of the review just for her, Missy, who suffered on every page and was rewarded at the end with a very pointless death. Here, I've carved out a bigger space for her to live. An ending where she does live, and she also gets to heal. You don't need to know the context to understand this story, only know that it's about abuse and the time after it. A room with a lock and a TV I control. Missy, who is a brave and strong young woman, holds her lips tightly together and refuses to sound out the words in front of her. Mrs. Goodamote smiles at her like the cartoon ballerina on the worksheet. D-A-N-C, dancer, it says below in big capital letters. Next to S-I-N-G-E, singer. The blobby cartoon characters on this page are all like that. Ruddy cheeks turned into black splotches on the printout. The page before was where all the ink went, all the colors anyone might pick as a name, labeled for her. A lot of girls have been picking names based on their talents, Miss Goodamote says. Crystal picked out Swan because she loved performing the Swan Princess. Did you have a favorite activity? Her voice is very slow and gentle. Missy glowers at the wordsheet's third page, the big-eyed animals torn from a coloring book. When she was young, she'd been good at everything. All the girls had been assigned talents based on early attributes, but she had always taken pride to be more, better, best. She was a flautist and a watercolor artist, but she'd made the other girls teach her more during daily recess, how to pirouette and waltz and hit her scales. There'd been a talent show the day before she'd been given to a home, and she'd been the best. Best girl. Best in show. She'd won the ribbon happily, and then had cried when it had been taken away from her in her new home. I was a painter, and I played the flute, she says. I was very good. Was. It'd been years, many more since she'd painted. Was. She would be far from the best now. Missy is a name that can sound good with anything, Miss Goodamote says sweetly. Maybe something else with an M? There's no wrong answer. The examples are only of common last names. She stares at the packet, flicks through. There are more jobs, people hammering at anvils and climbing mountains, and little doodles of trees she doesn't know the names of and doesn't want to sound out. I don't know, she says. She is sat in the worn-down chair at the acclimatization center with her legs crossed at the ankles and hands on her lap. She is staring not at Miss Goodamote's gray eyes, but at her chin. She doesn't know. You can, of course, change your first name, too, if that helps. A lot of girls are, she adds. Miss Goodamote has red cheeks and kind, crinkled eyes. She's old and ugly for it. She's so warm it leaks through and makes her skin pink. You don't have to decide now, either. You're ready for your trial. We can change your papers any time if needed, and you'll have plenty of time to think it through at your new home. She pushes the naming packet across the desk. Okay, she replies. A new home, a new name, an identity that can be altered at any time. She's used to that. She knows that already, and she knows it well. The apartment is on Maple Street, a red brick building with a front hall Miss Goodamote is keen to explain. She points at the mailbox and explains which one is hers, number 24. She tells her she might get mail, that once she learns to write, she can send and receive letters from all the other girls. Miss Goodamote talks like a letter is the most important thing in the world. Missy has her arms crossed, holding her elbows, waiting to be taken upstairs to her room. It is not an unfamiliar feeling. The spindly staircase creaks with every step up to the second floor, and the beige-yellow-maroon carpet smells like urine and smoke. Wallpaper peels to expose red bricks like the outside, and someone in the hallway is watching a TV show where people keep cheering. The apartment she is going to live in is in the middle, by a flickering lamp. Miss Goodamote smiles as she turns the key and pushes the door open. Welcome to your new home, she says. Inside it is less broken than the hall. A light white floor with a few pieces of furniture, a white couch, a table, a chair, and a small kitchen. A TV sits on a small table by the couch, the cord dangling over the screen. The window is open, showing a view of the fire escape and the identical red brick building across the alley. The walls are white, too. In a way, the place feels like home. White is the color of transient places, and she has long existed in empty, clean rooms. Your bedroom is through here, Miss Goodamote says, leading her inside. It's smaller when she stands in the middle, the door closed. Muffled sounds from her neighbors drift in. She takes in the layout, but lingers no more, following at Goodemote's heels. "Does the door lock?" she asks. Miss Goodemote checks. It does not. "We can get you one," she promises. "Soon, but your front door locks and you'll have the only set of keys." Missy nods. "You have a bathroom through there. There's no food in the fridge, but you saw the little shop down the road. Do you want to go together?" Missy shakes her head. "I'm okay. Thank you." She was an independent girl. They all said that. She could buy her own food with the card the center gave her. She knew how to put something in a microwave, and she'd learned how to boil water on a stove. Every day she had to walk to the center, and every day someone would tell her how good she was, how brave and inspiring, how independent, how heroic. The first thing she did on her own in the apartment was examine the television. She plugged it in and turned it on and stared at the static. She found the remote and pressed the button, and all she found was static. Numbers and letters passed, but there was nothing. The remote had so many buttons. She pressed more. She hadn't been taught these symbols. She tried them, bringing up menus and different screens, but still, only static. For a while after she realized she was not going to figure it out, she just sat there. She stared at the screen and listened to the white noise, and her brain felt like that. She felt like that. Stuck and nothingness, and definitely not jeopardy. She gives up. She took her shoes off by the door and sat on the white couch in her white room. She stared out the window. She looked at her reflection in the dark television screen. She lay in bed and dreamed empty thoughts. She did this every day. At the center, she learned about food and letters and machines and numbers. In the apartment, she cleaned every plate she used, dried it, and put it away. In the apartment, she ironed her clothes and folded them into her little mismatched wardrobe. She learned how to use the phone and gave her landline's number to a few other girls, but she didn't get many calls, and she didn't like any of them. There was Ella, one of the girls, the first girl even. Ella called her every week, and Ella was happy. Ella knew how to read already. She was younger, but she could write, and she told Missy to watch her on TV, advocating for girls like them. Missy would listen, and Missy would hate it. She hates how Ella called her Missy. She hates how Ella was happy. She hated that Ella was in love and happy, and then the phone call would end and Missy would be in a small boxed apartment hearing cheering from another room. Outside of her window is a fire escape. She has not paid it much mind. It leads into an alley with trash and a short dead end. There is nothing to look at, so she doesn't look. It lingers as a hole in the white wall, in her view from the table as she picks at her microwave dinner. She is so used to it that she notices immediately a change, a big, furry change, a movement. There is a cat in the window. It is fat and fuzzy and orange, sitting in her window on the fire escape, closing its eyes in the errant sunbeam that has drifted into the dark alley. She stares. A long time ago, all Missy had wanted was a room of her own with a lock on the door and a television she could control and a big orange cat who could come and go as he pleased. It's a thought that taunts her, that first taste of freedom found in a dirty motel room. She does not yearn anymore because somehow, despite Miss Goodemote and her classes and her locked front door, she does not believe it is an ending she will ever actually achieve. But she walks up to the window and opens the latch for the first time. The orange tabby looks at her with big green eyes and meows. She can hear through the window the scratchy sound, not a classic meow, but a long, whining cry. She pushes the window open and waits. The cat jumps in and immediately whines around her feet like it is trying to trip her, the meowing continuing and as drawn out as if it is a tuneless song. She kneels down and reaches a hand out, and the cat instantly headbutts it with a mrrr. "Hello, kitty," she says, petting the soft fur. Bits of the cat's thick coat already seem to have caught in the air and stuck to her long white skirt. "Are you lost?" The cat meows at her, and Missy, in surprise, laughs at the timing. "Don't you have a home?" she asks, giving the cat a pet. "You're very friendly." She scratches its chin, feeling under the thick fur to find a frayed green collar. "I'll have to call your owners. I can't take care of you." The cat hardly seems to mind. It is keen to circle her, vocal for attention and particularly skilled at getting cat hair all over her. She fingers a tag on the collar and has to hold the tabby still to actually be able to read it. The back is an address and a phone number. Missy is familiar with callers, and she recognizes the address as being Maple. Not so lost after all, just too friendly. "What's your name, kitty?" she asks as the cat complains about being so cruelly restrained by her arms. She turns the tag over. It reads, Missy. She drops the cat suddenly, the movement making it, Missy, startle. She runs, but she runs into the apartment. Missy is sat on the floor, still, while Missy the cat has leapt onto the table. There's food there, she realizes suddenly. That makes her move. She tries pushing her away from the half-eaten meal in its plastic tray. But when Missy proves too resilient, she shouts. Out! She tries with a big wave of her hand. She stomps her feet and Missy puffs up. Her leap towards the window knocks over Missy's glass of orange juice, and it shatters on the ground. Missy leaves through the window, and Missy stands at the table. She picks at the orange fur on her clothes, piece by piece. Part of her is hungry, but not enough to eat. She takes her food to the trash and stands by the bin. She looks at the trash. It is not very full. She doesn't use much. She starts pulling up the bag and tying it, then drops it back in the bin. It's barely full. She picks it up again and goes to take it out to the apartment trash room. She stands there, where it smells like rotten flies. She keeps doing that. She has to stop doing that. She goes to her apartment. The window is open and a fly is in her orange juice. She avoids the glass on the floor and stares at it. She really has to stop. The sun shines through the window and she goes to her bedroom and climbs into bed. She has no words for what she does and does not feel. She has nothing but the way her ceiling light casts a shadow above her, and she can do nothing but close her eyes and not sleep. In the middle of the night, she curses herself again. She holds her breath to creak her bedroom door open and see the shards of glass in the faint moonlight. It's a mess. She peels off her clothes, covered in cat hair, and changes. She doesn't turn on the lights as she kneels over to collect the glass, piece by sticky piece. There is another dead fly in the orange juice. She cleans it up and washes the spot, throwing it away until it is all gone. Her apartment is white again. She has one more glass. This is the only kind of good she knows how to do, in truth. This is her new best. She crawls back in bed. Beyond the middle of the night, somewhere in between the hours, she hears a creaking sound at her bedroom door, and she freezes. It is not an unfamiliar sound. Feet outside a bedroom door, the sound of someone trying to be quiet, the sound of a door opening, to look at her, to check on her. She does what she knows to do, and is still. She hates herself for it. At the center, she is brave Missy, smart Missy, Missy who got herself out, Missy who has lived alone, Missy from the streets and the railroads and the long journey up to the sanctuary. She is not Missy who freezes. She is not afraid, because she is exceptional, and she is brave. But she is frozen anyway, because none of that matters in the darkness when someone is pushing at the bedroom door. She squeezes her eyes shut. Steps. Movement. Infernal creaking across the apartment floorboards. The door is open and she wonders what she might see in the moonlight. She despises herself. There is no inspiration in her fear, and no one would call her brave for it. The truth is that she only knows fear. That even when she was the best girl, she only did it because of fear, that every memory she ever has had has been tainted by that feeling. Every happy thing in her life still carries that weight, and she will never be free. There is a curious sound, and then a weight, and she feels the weight of a large orange cat walking up her legs. She opens her eyes. Missy. The cat. She left the window open. The cat climbs up to her chest and begins to knead, purring loudly. Tiny claws poke through her blanket but don't hurt her. The cat circles and kneads and circles again, trying to find a space atop her. When she does, she continues to purr. It was impossible to have thoughts in the face of that sound. She sat up and grabbed the cat in her arms, clutching her against her center tightly. The tears in her eyes had already been there, but now they fell fully against Missy's orange fur. She expected the cat to flee, to startle, to break something else. She expected claws and a yowl, but Missy started purring louder. She was a crushing weight against her, and she was purring. "You're okay, aren't you?" she said. She didn't leave. The window stayed open whenever she was home. It let in a lot of bugs, but it stayed open. Missy kept returning. She would sun herself on the fire escape and meow excitedly whenever she returned from her classes, rubbing around her legs and greeting almost every day. Sometimes she wasn't there, but she would always return. She noticed early on that Missy was missing several toes on one of her paws. They were smoothly gone and left no hint as to what had happened, if she had been born without them, if something had done this to her. She would sometimes stroke her paw in wonder, but while Missy would meow back at any question asked, she couldn't answer. Her owner might, but she didn't care to meet them. Missy was not her cat, but Missy was clearly not her owner's either. Missy didn't care about her missing toes, so why should she? Having a cat in her white apartment with its white couch made it harder for her to clean. She did. She kept picking up hairs and washing her clothes. She showered every day, but the cat hair did not stop. At some point, she gives up. There is so much to remove that she stops trying. Orange hair clings to her dresses and her couch and somehow in the air itself. It shows up on clean clothes and on her fresh towels. So she stops. Instead, she buys mice filled with catnip and jingling balls Missy sometimes bats across the floor in the dead of night. She buys smelly treats and a special brush to work through all that fluff. The hair still got everywhere, but Missy loved being brushed. She curls up on her lap whenever she visits and purrs like a motorcycle. The mess, which felt so incorrect when she made it, feels natural when it is for Missy. She won't hide toys and pack everything away. Missy comes when she wants and plays how she wants, and suddenly it is okay for her to take up space too. If the cat can, she can. She leaves clothes on the floor and she showers far less. Missy doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. In fact, it is when she is petting Missy on the couch that she realizes how much she wants the television to work, and how easy it would be to ask for help. Miss Goodamote is happy to spend an afternoon puzzling it over. Miss Goodamote sees all the cat toys and asks if she has a pet cat, and she smiles and says she doesn't. No. So then she is able to find Jeopardy. She does not understand it all. She would lose quite badly if she went on, but she remembers an old fear-seeped memory of watching it long ago. She didn't have a choice, but she liked it. Now she has a choice, and she likes it. Missy sleeps on her lap, and she gives her a scritch across the cheek. The window is open. Her name now is Kitty. It's Kitty Drebeck. It's a name that makes her laugh, and she likes it when she laughs. She likes it, she loves, and she loves.